I'll just say it. To me, he looks younger than the brother-in-law. His mustache looks black, and the brother-in-law's is gray. And the brother-in-law's eyes are more hooded than appear in this guy. Okay, so I don't mean to beat up on the brother-in-law, but since he's been out there, I will say, to me, this doesn't look like it's a match, but we'll find out. The FBI is going to know this very, very soon. But if this is the guy, all right, let me start with this. Does this look like a professional hitman to you? Like based on what you guys saw in that video?
If I can start with this, Megan, there are very, very few actual, legit, real, quote unquote, professional hitmen out there. Of course, the mob has some, the cartels have them, people like that. They'll take out mostly their own kind. But for professional, this alleged professional hitmen that Hollywood likes to talk about, there are very, very few in that regard. Now, it doesn't mean there's some freelancer out there talking to some guys, sees something on the dark web and says, hey, I could do something like this. What's the address? And this is what happens. But these cases of, again, hitmen, unless there's some lover triangle involved and somehow that's where the other party gets taken out, they're relatively, I would say, very rare, quite frankly. And Maureen, maybe you have more experience with that than my career, but they're just not seen very often.
Well, what about the cartel piece of it? Like that's where I left us before we left. Does this look to you like somebody who could possibly be affiliated with a cartel?
Here's the deal with the cartel, because I worked narcotics all those years. The cartel's job, if they're kidnapping someone, it's a hit and run operation, meaning you get in there, you get the hell out, you do whatever you can. You have it already set up for the ransom. You get that money and it's over, and you drop that victim off someplace and let her figure out how to reach out to her family so that you don't have to. I mean, it's a situation that's rapid, fluid, and the whole goal is to get money. That isn't at all what we've seen here. It's just been this crazy rigmarole, and in so many with so many data points, they don't even seem to coincide with one another. It's like, if you had her, prove that she's alive.
As I watch this, you guys, and I mean, we're all subject to our own priors and biases, right? But I'm thinking about the actress Rebecca Schaefer, and she was on My Sister Sam. She was a rising star. She starred with Pam Dauber. Remember her? This is back in the 80s.
Sure.
And she was the younger sister, and she had just gotten to Hollywood, and her star was rising. And there was a man who became obsessed with her, who was watching her show, and she had not yet protected herself by figuring out how to put layers between you and the public. She was easy to find. He rang the doorbell with a dozen roses, and she opened the door. And long story short, he murdered her right there on the doorstep because he was obsessed with her. I mean, because he was crazy, but he was functioning. He wasn't, fire breathing, walking down the sidewalk. People did not know he was crazy, but he was crazy, and he killed her. And I can't help but think whether this is a possibility with this guy who you can't rule it out that there was some obsession. Obviously, with Savannah, I don't think many people would develop some weird obsession with an 84-year-old senior citizen, but it's possible that somebody was obsessed with Savannah, and she's, I believe, impossible to get to, but her mom's not.
Right.
And this guy seems kind of young. You can't totally tell, obviously, but to me, he looks kind of young, and
well, he's got that
young
poochie.
Is where the psychotic break happens. Yeah. I know I'm really out on a limb here. I'm just saying, this is an angle that deserves some discussion.
I agree, but I think we're forgetting something, or, we may not have gotten to the point where we notice something really important right now, and that is he's at the front door. The front door is not what they were talking about in those pressers. They were talking about the back door was left open, like he entered through the back door, and, we still don't know from the sheriff if, in fact, there was forced entry. But if there wasn't forced entry, this person's at the front door. How'd they get in? So the forced entry is going to be key.
So if my memory serves, Ashley Banfield reported that there was forced entry, and the sheriff has steadfastly refused to comment on it. He won't say. And it is, maybe that's what the video shows next, because I don't think we've seen all the video, because we do not see the moment where he gets the Nest camera down. Ashley's reporting that these are Nest cams, not Ring cams. But we don't see the moment where it disconnects and like goes dark. So clearly they didn't show that for some reason. And you're right. Ashley's also reporting that the back door was open and that the guy removed the Nest cam from the back door too. And that's strange. He's at the front door. He's going in the front door. We think he left the front door. Well, we don't see him go in. But we believe he exited through the front door because that's where Nancy's blood was.
Right.
So clearly he at least attempted to leave with Nancy through the front door.
Okay, but from a cartel standpoint, I can tell you right now, a cartel member is not going to hit that front door because it had a burglar gate on it. Those things are very hard to breach. Trust me when I tell you from experience. If I'm going to breach a door,
it had a what?
One of those burglar doors on it. You know, the metal. It's all metal, and the frame is actually screwed sideways about with 6, 8, 12-inch bolts into the side of the frame of the door. It's not something that you just put on. You know those metal ones that look kind of Spanish, but you can't get through them. Yep. They're extremely hard to breach. Well, they're very hard to breach. So if that next video shows him trying to breach that door and he's good at it, that's going to be a person from a different at a different level. If it shows him running around
maybe
the
what
back
happened next is he went around. Yeah, maybe he went around to the back door and got in that way. And I mean, if that happened, like if there's video showing him struggling, he can't get the door open, and then he gives up and goes around to the back, then I think we can safely say it's somebody familiar with the property. It could be a landscaper, could be somebody, it's like the person knew exactly where the vegetation was and what they wanted to grab, and they did it. So it could be a friend or a family member who's familiar, but it could also be somebody like a groundskeeper,
right,
or someone who's just spent a fair amount of time on the property and knew immediately there's a back door that they should get to. And frankly, that would make some sense, because who that's breaking into a home like this and gets in through the front door after all this stuff we're watching on camera, then says, gee, maybe I should go disarm the Nest camera in the back door. No one's even thinking about the back door.
Unless there's something we don't know. Again, we think it's one person now. And I surmised earlier there could have been someone in a car. Obviously, we don't see the car out front, and we don't know if anyone would be in there or not. There has to be a car, I would think, for this person to make his egress, not just, of course, from the house, but from the street and from the whole neighborhood. So why the back door would be involved here? Was there some sort of a tentative walk around there to check it out at some point, and he decided out of the two doors, which one is the one easier to break into, to break down? That's unknown and will have to be determined, of course, later. Is a determination which way the person came in as opposed to which way the person left? I don't know that either, and hopefully the investigators do know. But more camera information, of course, will tell us about all of that.
There's a couple of accounts on X that have tried to make the contrast higher on the photos and even bring out some color. We grabbed just one of them. This is from somebody who goes by Sophie on X. And you can see a little bit more clearly. The gloves look black, 100%. They don't look brown.
And leather.
And definitely leather. To me, the jacket, I don't know, looks gray with lighter pants. I can't really tell. There's definitely, what's that, Steve? There's a close-up of the face. I mean, he's got pretty wide eye. I mean, it's weird. He actually looks like he's wearing eyeliner to me, in a way. He's got like, don't you see what I mean?
Yeah, in
like
the first
underneath
image,
his eyes.
I thought it was like swimming goggles almost. It looked like when I first saw it on my phone, that little first one.
Yeah. Yeah. And it looks like there's something in his mouth. I can't tell what it is. Maybe that's his
camera.
little light.
Camera. I'm sorry, light. Yes, light.
The light. But it's a slim, it's almost like it's a slim horizontal thing. I would have expected a round, I don't know how flashlights come that could go into your mouth, but it does appear to be like a long, flat, like rectangular thing in his mouth. And the eyes look big, round, and like they have eyeliner, which typically means the person has black hair. Because trust me, we blondes, we do not look like we have eyeliner on when we are not wearing eyeliner, right? I mean,
or he may have put
Maureen and I can
eyeliner
both
on
relate
because
to that.
that's the only part of his face exposed beside the lips. He may actually have eyeliner on.
Well, here's the other question I have for you, though. What about, I'll stand by. What? This is an aside. Brian Engine just reporting a pizza delivery man just showed up to Nancy Guthrie's house and was able to walk up to the front door without the deputies out front noticing. Oh, my Lord. Okay, let's go back to Eyeliner Man. There's the fact that there's no car right behind him, you guys, is freaking me out. Because if you are showing up at this home to abduct a lady, an 84-year-old, aren't you going to put your car right there?
Not for a long period
right
of
there
time.
so you can get her in?
No, if you're afraid of a camera being there, you'd at least, you have to show yourself at some point, the mask and the jacket, all that stuff, hidden hair, gloves, but you don't want to have your car obvious to the camera. So that was somehow parked on an angle. Yes, it would make his job more difficult to carry, however he did it, Mrs. Guthrie out the door to the car itself. But he looks like he's big enough, hefty enough, not lanky as we were saying earlier, that he could probably carry the 150-pound woman to the car. And he would ideally like to have it closer, but from a tactical perspective or a counter forensic perspective, he wanted out of the sight of that camera. So that would make more sense there. So this guy, we got to give him credit, again, air quotes, where it's due. He is somewhat forensically sophisticated with gloves, with hat. Maureen's right. There could be touched, when you put the gloves on, leather gloves, there could be touched DNA on top of that, which then could be left in some other part of the house too. And that could be the break they're looking for. And a bunch of people are getting their mouths swabbed, I understand, pool people in the last 24 hours or so. And that could be a result of again, this video that's come out now. And they may have something.
Well, and a whole bunch of people are going to get ruled out quickly. If you've got more Asian eye, this is not an Asian man. I think we can say that. It's not a black man. We can say that. It's not a super tall man. We can say that. It's not
super thin man,
super slim man, but it's not a hugely obese man either. As a medium build.
Wait, before we move on
they have very round eyes.
Before we move on from how slim he is, he could have something tucked under his jacket in the front to make him look fatter. Or to make it look like he has a beer belly.
We thought that about the brown person, but that was ruled out eventually. He was fat.
I knew he was by the way he walked with those fallen arches on the inside. You could tell he was.
The brown shooter we're talking about.
You knew that?
Brown shooter, you're right. Yeah.
Oh, Brown University. Yeah. Hold on a second. This is, okay. Who is this person? My team is sending me things that are helpful, but I got to figure out who this is. It's an investigative journalist at Town Hall who's estimating he's between 5'10 and 5'11. We don't know, but he's actually checking. He's looking at the bricks. This is actually a thoughtful analysis because he's looking at the bricks that are there and coming up with an estimate based on the bricks and how big they typically are, how many inches they typically are, to put him at about 5'10 and 5'11. I mean, my own armchair analysis suggested he was about 6 feet too. Right. I can see that. Right. Let's see. We don't,
Can I mention something about the leather gloves?
Yeah.
So when you're taking your...
no.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
When you're taking off your leather gloves, you take them off sometimes finger by finger, right? So you get your right hand off. Sometimes you just grab the whole, like this whole part and pull. Other times you grab off finger to finger. If there are fingerprints on the tips of those gloves and he touched things within the house, he could have transferred a fingerprint onto a hard surface. It is possible.
Mm. And right, or even just his DNA.
Yeah, definitely DNA.
He can get rid of the gloves. That doesn't even matter then. It's his DNA then that is linked to the touch DNA found in the house. So the clothing material becomes irrelevant then.
And when you said, why would you
odds of him having touched nothing are slim.
Megyn, when you said earlier, why would he take the body or whatever? I think obviously money was the motive. This is not an instance where, we were speculating earlier on in this extravaganza we've been involved in, that maybe something went horribly wrong when there was an argument or something along those lines. That doesn't appear to be what happened now. It seems now this was a kidnapping or just a straight up murder where they removed the body. But remember you talked earlier when at the top of the hour where you were saying that, if a gardener's fingerprints or DNA are in the house, that's one thing if he's in the kitchen or the restroom or something like that. But if it's on her bedding or on her nightstand, that's a totally different deal. That may be why the body was removed if they went there just to kill her. But it's still looking more and more like a kidnapping at this point.
And somehow, but that somehow taken over by someone, starting with these emails and this Bitcoin thing down the line.
Can we say that, Jim? Separate. Like, let's talk about that just for 1 minute. Now that we know for sure someone was there. I mean, we knew because the Nest cameras were destroyed that somebody got her, but now there's just no denying it's literally right there on tape. Should we spend another minute on just 1 minute before we say goodbye to the ransom notes on whether there's a possibility they were real? I mean, maybe they were real. They were real, and they've killed her now because they didn't get their payment, and now that's it.
Megyn, I would argue if they were real and connected to this abductor, or quite frankly, not connected to this abductor that we're seeing the video images of, they would have shown proof of life. We discussed this at length yesterday, and I think Friday before we signed off. This is if not unwritten, it's the written rule of kidnapping. Everyone realized you got to show this proof of life. And now we don't know what the Guthrie family did, if they made the payment or not last night, $6 million or more or less. So we don't know. But
we don't think so because TMZ has the Bitcoin account numbers, and it's reporting today that there's no money in there, that no one has made a deposit in there.
But Megyn, what if you listen to the FBI's statement that they put out, they said, we know of no other communication between the kidnapper and the Guthrie family. Jim can speak to this extensively, I'm sure. There are a lot of times where they'll find a side road into the family and set up a different account and whatever, right, Jim?
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah, I mean, in these types of deals, not for-profit kidnappings as we're seeing here, but where there's other hidden accounts that no one else allegedly knows about, and money could be deposited there. But yeah, there's just so many. This does change somewhat. We knew she was abducted, and I always was skeptical whether it was that it was for profit. Again, revenge or something else. If it's for revenge, something against the family, maybe they just didn't want the family seeing the body in the house, and they wanted, to save the family from that. It almost sounds like that, there'd be some other set of rules put in there for them. This is so unusual on so many different levels and unprecedented that we're all learning here along the way, quite frankly. And the investigators know more than we do, and these videos add a lot to what we didn't have. But I think, Maureen, and you and I talked, about this, and Megyn, we talked on the air. It doesn't surprise me that this is the kind of person that came to the door. We didn't rule out someone knows a young girl, hey, my car broke down, can I use your phone? We didn't rule that out, but it's more likely going to be something like what we see here. Secretive in the middle of the night, well-prepared, mission-oriented, I use that term a lot, to get in the door, which they eventually did. Why 41 minutes in the door? That is still unclear, in the house, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But that will come out at some point probably. And then somehow this woman is carried out to a car parked at least a little bit down the driveway, out of the range of the camera. Then they had to decide what they're going to do.
On that front, a helpful Twitter user who goes by Chillinois has slowed down the video and where he approaches, and you can see that he is coming in from the left. We're going to show it. He's coming in from the side of the property right there. You can't quite see it in the video we're showing, but he's coming in from the left, around the bend of the left there, which would be consistent with maybe he does have a car.
That's where the driveway is.
Smart enough not to park it right in front where the Nest camera could get him. I mean, clearly, you guys, you tell me, but clearly he had cased the joint prior, right?
No doubt.
No doubt.
He knew there was a Nest camera. He knew where to park and where not to park. He knew where the vegetation was. He seems pretty calm. He's not like panicking, running around, right? Like
he seems exceptionally
he cased
calm.
This joint.
Imagine.
Right, how could that be?
He's been there before.
Imagine what you're about to do.
He's been there before, or someone he knows has been there before, and gave him a very distinctive and specific description of the place. I'm convinced of that.
But imagine the mindset of breaking into a house, destroying cameras. I mean, when you're prepping yourself for this act and you're walking up to the door, you pull out you've got your gun right there. For an 84-year-old woman, why do you even need a gun? Unless you're just trying to scare her into opening some safe, open some documents, something along that line. But nothing was missing. And then you're trying to prepare yourself for harming her, which it shows this offender, whoever he was, had a proclivity and a predisposition toward hurting people because she was bleeding on her way out. So there's just no doubt about that. You know, what type of offender can do this type of thing? What type of person, Jim?
Well, I would argue a psychopath, and on the scale of psychopathy somewhere, narcissistic, has no feelings of empathy, doesn't care about other people, and he just says, this is a mission I'm on. We don't know the purpose of the mission yet, the motivation that is, but perhaps profit oriented to some degree. Just get rid of the body. Don't worry about the kidnapping part. And these other people kick in with the alleged kidnapping with the Bitcoin. So it's so far a mystery wrapped up in a riddle, but maybe the enigma part is left now that we see these videos. And this is going to generate a lot of activity on the part of this offender, as well as people that possibly know him. Again, Tucson, local to Tucson. Did he drive, all day long to get there, then left the scene? These are factors that we're going to have to determine. They say you don't want to poop where you eat. I'll be polite here. So I can't imagine this guy being a next door neighbor or even around the block, but from around the block. But they're going to keep all angles open and all avenues open to find out who this person is and not rule out geography as being a factor.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.